DeAndre Ayton looked like an absolute star yesterday, and he looks like he's getting back to form. And today we're going to watch some of the tape. We're going to watch some of what we saw from Ayton. We're also going to watch some tape from some of the other guys. LaRavia looked really, really, really good yesterday. Plus, apparently Anthony Edwards trolled him a little bit, which we'll talk about. And of course, Dalton Knecht starting to kind of get back to form, right? Pre-trade with the Mark Williams trade from last year. I'm excited to talk about this, man. DeAndre Ayton, to me, looked the best he's looked this season. 17 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, multiple nice contested shots on the defensive side. The guy was 8 of 18 in terms of contesting shots. But I would make the argument some of these contested shots that he had, how he played help defense was incredible. And I want to talk about this because, I think to win a championship, you have to have guys on the defensive side that can, get stops essentially. Forced missed shots, I think, is a key part of winning championships. Steals, turnovers, just being generally a team that has a guy that's a big that can play defense, and then, of course, a guy that can cover wings and guards. And I think the Lakers kind of have all of that with some of these different guys. DeAndre Ayton, help defense was incredible yesterday. And I want to just show you guys some of these plays. On this first one, he does a phenomenal job with the help. You got an easy drive, in my opinion, on this one. And, of course, he kind of steps in there and helps force the miss. And then on this next play, Julius Randle gets right past LaRavia super quickly, be able to kind of beat him, and essentially he's going to be able to drive, potentially score. Ayton sees this. He's going to stop the drive. He's going to contest the shot. And once again, he's going to force a missed bucket, right? And I think these plays more than anything, when a guy has the lane, a guy has, he beats the guy in front of him, he may be able to score 2 points. But for a guy to come help, maybe it's from the other side of the court, maybe it's, up top and he comes down low. For a guy to come and help when on the other side of this, an offense has easy buckets, right? Timberwolves can easily score on these plays, and then you get a guy in Ayton that comes over the top and he helps and he defends the shot, and you miss those shots. I think those plays right there changed the game. There was another play. He had a nice drive by McDaniels. He's going to beat LaRavia. He tries to dunk, and once again, Ayton forces another miss. To me, those are phenomenal plays by DeAndre Ayton. The guy is helping on the defensive side. There were also moments where the Lakers decided, hey, we want to be a little bit more aggressive. We're going to play some ice coverage, also called blitz coverage. And he does a really good job on multiple of these plays. You have this play here where the Los Angeles Lakers are at 14 points. Rui is going to be on Julius Randle. The switch happens. Ayton ends up playing ice coverage. He's not going to allow Randle to get that easy shot. So Randle naturally is going to drive, and Ayton does a phenomenal job with the footwork, and he contests that shot. I want you guys to think about this play right here. If you're DeAndre Ayton, you have a pick at the top of the 3-point line. So not only do you have to essentially blitz and stay on top of Randle so he doesn't get the easy shot, but then this guy drives, and now you got to be able to change direction. You got to have that hit fluidity. You got to have the footwork. And you see this with DeAndre Ayton, where he's able to stick with a really, really good basketball player, Julius Randle. And again, he contests the shot. That's a really, really good job right there, in my opinion, by DeAndre Ayton on the defensive side. And he did this a couple times when the Lakers put him in a situation where he had to blitz. He had to switch, right? He kind of ends up getting on this other guy, and he kind of just sticks with him. Shows good footwork. To me, DeAndre Ayton is a very, very important piece for the Lakers. And when the Lakers brought him in, this was what we expected from him. The Lakers needed a big. They needed a guy. Jaxson Hayes was good, but they needed a different guy that can play better defense. Hayes gets way too much into foul trouble. And DeAndre Ayton's kind of the opposite of Hayes. Plus, Ayton can score on the offensive side. He has a really, really nice fadeaway jump shot. And we saw that a couple times yesterday. 17 total points. He looked really good scoring on offense, being efficient, playing defense. DeAndre Ayton looks good, and I'm excited to kind of see how he continues to get healthy and how the Lakers continue to let this guy, get better and better and better. And, at this point, Ayton's the 4th option on the offensive side, if that. I think you can make the argument when fully healthy. He might not even be the 4th guy. A lot of Ayton's buckets are going to be second chance opportunities, dry pick and roll type of situations where he might be able to catch some lobs. But yesterday, Ayton looked the best that I've seen this season, and I'm not sure if it's because Jaxson Hayes is back. I don't know, right? Because when the Timberwolves got into a smaller lineup, in past games, whenever the team gets into a smaller lineup, DeAndre Ayton can get some minutes and off the court, right? He can rest. But if you're in a situation where a team has 2 bigs, like the Timberwolves, right? They have 2 bigs. you may not be able to come off the court as much if you're Ayton, but with Jaxson Hayes back, you're able to kind of make that switch at least. Jaxson Hayes played 12 minutes, and he did a pretty nice job given it's his very first game back from his injury. He only had 2 points, but truth be told, he only took 2 shots. So efficiency, right? 1 of 2. He had a block, a steal. He had 3 assists. He had 2 rebounds. So he was pretty solid as a rotational player coming off the bench, backup center essentially. And he did have some nice contested shots. And do keep in mind, this is his first game back, so he will continue to get better. And, there was a time when Jaxson Hayes was Anthony Davis's backup, and Jaxson Hayes looked really good at that point. Like, he was a guy where you would say, hey, we understand why he was a top draft pick or top 10 pick. We see the flashes. We see the upside. And obviously, when he kind of got thrown into, like, you need to now be the starting center after the Mark Williams trade kind of fell through, we're at that point where Hayes initially kind of looked good, but then he just kind of started to fall off as the season kind of came to an end. In the playoffs, he wasn't even playable. And now Jaxson Hayes gets to get back into that role where he's going to be your backup big. And he can kind of develop at that role. And I think yesterday he looked pretty good now. He's obviously still has to get back into shape, right? Like basketball shape, like real shape. Not practice shape, but like real shape. And he only played 12 minutes and 42 seconds, but he did have some nice defensive contested shots. He had a couple of those. He had a really nice one-on-one rep versus Naz Reid. Really nice shot, forces to miss. Overall, man, I felt like the big man for the Lakers looked good yesterday. DeAndre Ayton looked phenomenal, and Jaxson Hayes looked pretty good. Obviously, he's getting back to form. But another guy that looked phenomenal, and this was a guy I called out yesterday. If you guys watched the video, I said Jake LaRavia has to step the hell up. We cannot have this guy play the way he played on Monday night. We can't have that guy again. I think he was like 1 of 6. He was awful, essentially, right? And he was the complete opposite yesterday. And Anthony Edwards trolled him a little bit. If you guys did not see the video, check this out. So there it is. Anthony Edwards is trolling Jake LaRavia, basically saying, hey, who the hell is number 12 out there? Laughing about it. And Jake LaRavia went ahead and said, here I am, right? Here's number 12. He ended up having a phenomenal day yesterday, right? He was 10 of 12, just really, really consistent. He was efficient, 27 total points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. More than that on the defensive side. He's not perfect in one-on-one defensive situations, but he's smart. Jake LaRavia, I think, is a very, very smart basketball player. There's guys that are good on defense, and I'm not saying Jake LaRavia is like really, really good in terms of like being able to cover like a one-on-one type of person. Like, for example, you look at Jared Vanderbilt, Marcus Smart. These guys are really good in one-on-one situations covering their guys. LaRavia is not that. But Jake LaRavia is very smart. He has a very high mental IQ. So he'll deflect passes. He'll get into passing lanes. He'll make it hard for a guy to make a clean pass. Now, he's not going to stay in front of guys, but he's smart. And I say that because yesterday he had 7 deflections. And those 7 deflections that he had led to 4 turnovers. And as I stated earlier, the biggest difference between a team winning a championship and a team losing is those 7 deflections. Over the course of a season, if you're getting extra possessions, if you're forcing turnovers, you're getting steals, if a team has an easy bucket and you force that miss, those plays win you championships. And Jake LaRavia made those type of plays on the defensive side. To me, he was phenomenal. And again, 4 forced turnovers by Jake LaRavia on the defensive side. Keep in mind, you're not going to get credit for like 4 steals. Steals are overrated, right? It's like looking at only sacks on the quarterback, right? It's overrated. You got to look at quarterback hits. You got to look at pressures and hurries and those type of things. Same thing applies here, right? Just the steal stat is overrated. Forced turnovers is where it's at. Yesterday he had 4 of them. There's 4 extra possessions that the Lakers got that. On the other side of it, the Timberwolves could have scored points potentially, right? Dalton Knecht looked pretty damn good yesterday as well. 15 points, 7 of 12. He did go 1 of 5 from the 3-point line. There's a little bit of improvements. But on the defensive side, he had 2 blocks, which is really solid given, those plays changed the game. He had a steal. It's another very, very solid thing to kind of watch from Knecht, right? Being able to get steals and blocks and those type of things. Austin Reeves, obviously, I don't need to talk about Austin Reeves, right? I'm sure you guys don't really care to watch tape of Austin Reeves. I'm not even going to show you guys any of that. But the game winner, man, Austin freaking Reeves. Are you guys surprised this guy is doing what he's doing? Let me know. Are you guys actually surprised? I'm kind of not surprised, to be honest. I feel like even over, even when the Lakers had injuries last year, right? I think when Luka first came to the Lakers, I believe he played like 2 games for the All-Star break. And then I think after the All-Star break, I believe he did not play. And I think even LeBron might not have played. And I think it was Austin Reeves carrying the Lakers at that point too. Don't quote me on that. My memory's not great. But Austin Reeves, man, has been phenomenal. I'm almost not surprised that this guy's doing what he's doing. 50 points the other night, 40 or 50 plus, 40 plus. Now he hits the game winner and super efficient. He had, I think, 15, 16 assists yesterday. I mean, Austin Reeves just looked really, really, really impressive. And of course, he hits the game winner and he wins the game for the Lakers. But I think it's also important to kind of talk about some of what we saw, leading up to the game winner. Because let's be honest, the Lakers were up 20 points at one point in that game. The Lakers were up, I believe, 11 or 12 points with like 4 or 5 minutes left. That's, kind of not acceptable to get into a situation where you're actually down 1 point with 6 seconds left. Yes, they won the game, but imagine if Austin Reeves missed that shot. Imagine if Austin Reeves kicked it out to, Dalton Knecht and he misses the shot. Imagine if the Lakers don't win that game and how awful that game would actually feel. Now, I want to kind of just spend some time talking about this. There's also a couple of updates that I want to get into at the end of this video. So the Lakers, they're up 20 at one point. I do think it's a little overrated to say the Lakers were up 20 and then the Timberwolves came back, because the Lakers were up 20 for all of 3 possessions. After those 3 possessions, they're only up 12 points, right? The Lakers go up 20. Quickly, the Timberwolves drive right downfield. They get an easy layup, I think, like on a fast break opportunity. Now it's an 18-point game. The Lakers miss. The Timberwolves hit back-to-back threes. Now it's only a 12-point game. Right? That was 3 possessions. The Lakers were up by 20. So I think it's overrated to say that. But the Lakers were up by about, they're up about 11, 12 points in the fourth quarter. And there was about 4 or 5 minutes left at that point. To me, I think the Lakers made a couple of mistakes at that point. And some people have stated this on Twitter, and I kind of agree with it. And I'm not sure if JJ Redick was already asked in the presser about this. I have not watched the presser. But JJ Redick, they decided not to play Jarrett Vanderbilt for most of the fourth quarter yesterday. Vandy, for some reason, only played 2 minutes and 43 seconds of the fourth quarter. Now, I understand he only had 3 points in yesterday's game, and he wasn't great. But Vanderbilt's not an offensive player, and what he does, and we've seen this guy do this for years, right? And he's the type of guy that's going to get 6 offensive rebounds in any given game, which he literally had yesterday. The guy had 6 offensive rebounds. He had 12 total rebounds, but he had 6 offensive rebounds. That's 6 more opportunities on the offensive side that you have to score. Yesterday, the Lakers obviously struggled, like 3 or 4 minutes left to score and to play defense. I think the defense part was the bigger issue. But they were up 12 with 4 minutes left because of kind of what they did over the course of that game. And obviously, if you have Luka, you have LeBron, you have Marcus Smart, you're not going to give up that. You're not going to blow that 12-point lead, essentially. So, to me, did the Lakers make a mistake not putting a guy like Vanderbilt in the game? I think it's a good question. And I think it's something JJ Redick should definitely be asked. I think it is a mistake not to play him, but you also got to look at it on the other side. If you put a guy like Vandy in, then who do you take out? Do you take Rui Hachimura out? Do you take out LaRavia? LaRavia was phenomenal yesterday. 10 of 11, right? 27 points. So I think it's almost one of those things where who are you going to take out to put in Jarrett Vanderbilt? And I understand that aspect of it. So I just think, from a matchup perspective, maybe it's Vanderbilt that covers Julius Randle. I don't know. It's just interesting to think about. I think this is something that the Lakers will continue to figure out and fine-tune as they continue over the rest of the season. This is a playoff game. There's a chance Vanderbilt doesn't play at all, right? We don't really know. And when that time comes, we'll find out, right? Maybe it's Rui and LaRavia at that point that are going to be the main contributors for the Lakers. Maybe it's going to be Marcus Smart, and then maybe Jaxson Hayes is a main contributor. And then Vanderbilt doesn't play, or Knecht doesn't play. Yesterday, Nick Smith looked phenomenal as well. So maybe it's Smith that ends up playing more minutes, right? And by phenomenal, what I mean is, he wasn't great at scoring points, but he did a lot of the little things. He dribbled the ball. He was confident. I think confidence is always key in the NBA. And, he's still kind of developing. He's still getting better, but he played more minutes yesterday than Bronny played, right? And Bronny played more minutes the night before. So, you already see that small little adjustment that kind of gets made. Also, the Lakers were great in the third quarter yesterday, which is something they haven't really done this season. I think the first 2 or 3 games, they were awful in the third quarter, right? The halftime adjustment wasn't great for the Lakers. They come out a little dry, not aggressive, and they've given up big leads in the third quarter. They've lost games this year in the third quarter. And they've also had some games where they were okay in the third, right? They matched the points as the other team, but yesterday they were elite in the third quarter. They ended up going up 20 points at some point in the third quarter. That was because on the offensive side, they looked really, really good. Now, I also want to talk a little bit about 2 updates that we're getting out here. I think they're important to just kind of talk about really quickly. If you guys did not hear this, yesterday, Adou Thiero was actually cleared to get back on the court. For the first time, the Lakers will actually have this guy on the court. Now, he's practiced a little bit, but he hasn't done everything you could do. He's just basically done light work, but he's clear now at this point for live 100% full contact. He can get out there and start to work a little bit, and the Lakers added him officially to the South Bay Lakers, right, the G League roster. So we'll probably see him over the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks. We'll see him in the G League over the next couple of weeks at some point. He'll practice. We'll see some of that as well. But he is officially cleared, and I think this is great for the Lakers because I think, the Lakers need an athletic wing, in my opinion. I think they can use a guy like Thiero, who some people compare to Amon Thompson, which I get it. That is technically the comparison, but Thompson's obviously a lot better at this point. But I think Thiero has a lot of upside. He has a lot of potential. And obviously, the knee injury he had last year when he was in college, and technically he still played after he got the knee injury, but he wasn't 100%. The knee injury that he had, obviously he got the surgery, it limited him this entire offseason. I don't think he practiced at all in training camp, right? I know he did light work, but not full contact. So he didn't do that. He obviously didn't play in the summer league either. And, the Lakers are going to bring him on slowly. I think JJ Redick's already kind of made that clear. And Thiero's already said that he's okay with playing in the G League. If you guys don't know this, during the Lakers media, or at least I think it was, I forget when it was exactly. Maybe it was the first media the Lakers had. He was asked about this, and he was like, "Hey, I'm cool with it." So we'll see him at some point playing some G League basketball. Even at this point, I don't think he would even play for the Lakers roster until probably late in the season. If he's able to get to that point, he has to be able to not only be fully healthy, but then he has to prove that he's a good basketball player and the Lakers can actually use him. But I do like the fact that he's cleared up. And there's 2 more updates that came out. This first one, JJ Redick told us that there's no set return date in mind for LeBron James, but the team is eyeing the 2nd or 3rd week of November as a general range. And then, of course, for Luka, he actually had some interesting things to say. He said, the sprained finger on Doncic's left hand has gone from double its normal size to 1.5 its normal size. So that is progress. Said Doncic remains day-to-day. The Lakers play Memphis on Friday. Doncic is not currently on the trip with the team. So there it is, right? Obviously, at this point, LeBron, mid-November, 3rd week of November, even if he comes back, December 5th, perfectly fine. LeBron needs to be 100% when he ultimately comes back. Luka will be back, I think, within the next 4 to 5 days. Obviously, he's not going to play against Memphis this Friday. It is what it is. Good to know that his finger is getting better, but I'd also be cautious with Doncic. You could start the season 5 of 11 and be fully 100% healthy, and you can still finish with 45, 50 wins easily, right? So the beginning of the season does not matter as much as, down the stretch. So we'll see. Hopefully you guys get fully healthy, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. It's the first time I've done a film breakdown this season. I plan to continue to do some of these as we kind of go forward. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. If you did, consider subscribing. Obviously, I am doing Lakers content this season. Hopefully consistently. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Sanji. I also do Raiders content. I'm a huge Raiders fan, so obviously I cover the Raiders, of course, Lakers as well. So let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.